right, welcome to another episode of Creating Happiness. I'm your host, Michael Short, and today we have Bobby Kircher from Papaya Search letting us know a little bit about himself and how his experience has been with GoWP. Welcome, Bobby.
Thanks, Michael. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you once again. Today I just want to learn more about you. If you can, tell us about your agency, how you got started, and what brings us together and with GoWP.
Sure. Our agency is Papaya Search. We're a search marketing agency based in Atlanta. We help businesses grow through organic search, working with marketing teams to help fill in those gaps and help them move the needle when it comes to getting traffic and conversions from search.
Awesome. When did you guys start?
So started in 2004. I was working for MCI WorldCom, if anyone remembers that telecommunications company. I had spent 5 years there and then was let go probably a year after its bankruptcy. And at that point, I was already building websites on the site. I was learning a little bit about SEO, and I got an opportunity to work with an e-commerce site. So I started my company and worked with an e-commerce client for many years. And that was how I got my start into like doing a deep dive into SEO and SEM.
So your main focus is SEO, but do you provide other services over at Papaya Search?
Yeah, so we also provide web hosting and website support services. And thanks to GoWP, we're able to excel in providing that service for our clients, because sometimes we have clients who need hosting as well as SEO support. So making sure that they have a robust hosting solution, and then making sure that we're able to maintain it the best we can.
Tell us a little bit about the experience that you've had with GoWP. I know you've actually been with us for quite some time and using multiple services. So tell us a little bit about the services that you've used and how that's been.
Sure. Yeah. So I met Brad Morrison in, I think it might have been 2018. and so I met him at WordCamp, and he's heavily involved at WordCamp Atlanta, and in the WordPress community, not just nationwide, but in the Atlanta area. And so at the time, I had a client who we were providing website support, and because it was a big site, I really wanted to make sure that I had some help in accomplishing that. So I brought my first client to GoWP, and it was very easy to set up and get started. And so we set up with a support at papayasearch.com, which is still our email address for anything support related. And our clients would send in requests, and you guys did such a good job that I started to bring more and more clients within the GoWP support.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So now we just launched the dedicated, not just launched, actually, it's been a while now, but when we first launched the dedicated developer program, you were one of the first clients that worked with us on that. And tell us a little bit about the challenges that you had before you hired a dedicated developer with us.
Yeah. So, some of the web hosting we do and support were for smaller clients. So, I'm pretty involved in the community here, not just the WordPress community, but a bunch of different communities that I'm involved in. And a lot of times we'll pick up a client who's just one of my friends and who has a website, and they had somebody working on it and they didn't do a good job. And so, we took care of them and babied them, right? And as we continued to grow, we started having clients that required a little more support, including technical support. And there are times when we pick up a client and we look at their site, if it's in WordPress, and determine that there needs to be a lot of technical work involved in order to optimize the site fully. And so it's not something that we could just email the support team, back in the day. We needed to have a developer really to focus in on the project and execute. And so that's how we just, it was time that we had a dedicated developer that we could lean on for those projects. Awesome. So yeah. And in the past, it was something that we would go out and pursue and find a developer who might be available or who might not be available, right? So we had to go through that process and then vet the developer and then work on one project. And then when we were done with the project, that's it. We parted ways. So we always had to do that over and over again. So now with a dedicated developer, we've got Patrick, and we can lean on Patrick to say, hey, this is what's coming up in the next few weeks. And we can get a project set up and feel confident to tell the client, like, okay, this is what we're going to work on. And having Patrick available to execute on that work makes it a lot easier for us to manage.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So your experience so far with Patrick has been great, would you say?
It's been fantastic. Yeah. You know, he's proactive. He thinks about things that we need to do for our clients. And so even when there hasn't been a whole lot of downtime, but when there has been, then, you know, he's finding other things that we can do to help provide excellent support for our clients.
Very cool. So tell us a little bit more about the projects that he works on. What kind of stuff that can he do for you?
So he handles a lot of our tickets now. So any tickets that come in, he jumps in and he takes care of those, which is great because, you know, that's important. Sometimes we just need one client needs one kind of update or page update or add a new page. He does it very quickly. Some of the bigger projects we've worked on have been rebuilds. So a website rebuild for us is when we have a client who has a website that maybe is running on an older WordPress theme, or an outdated theme, or especially now when we're having these jQuery, you know, flags coming up. It may be a site that was built, you know, in 2017, 2016, and hasn't been updated in a long time, but the client doesn't want to spend the money on a full-fledged redesign. And so what we have Patrick doing is rebuilding the website in Elementor to just basically bring it to a more modern place, which gives us the ability to optimize the site even more, uses, you know, at least technology that we know is going to last for the next several years. And, you know, when it comes time to redesign the site, then we'll have a good basis to get started from. And we're not going to be concerned so much about WordPress updates going forward, because there have been a few sites that we're working on, and we can tell that because the theme is outdated or has been abandoned or is no longer supported, that theme might break with future versions of WordPress. So it was important for us to communicate to our clients to say, we don't want to be in a situation where your site, you know, goes down and then we have to do like an emergency fix, right? So, you know, this is a solution that we provide that's less expensive than having to redesign the site, especially if they like the look and feel of their current site as it is.
What does the stack look like that you typically work with? You mentioned Elementor, and you mentioned some of the old themes that you used to work with. I'm assuming those are probably like themes off of ThemeForest, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so, they're old themes on ThemeForest that or you can't even find them anymore, right?
Yeah.
Or they're just no longer supported. So, but we're working with like we have Elementor. I think Astra is also part of the stack for some of the sites we're working on, and you know, we use WP Rocket to optimize, using Yoast plugin to handle our SEO work. We use Short Pixel for image optimization. So, you know, site speed is important for us because of, you know, for SEO, and especially now we're with Core Web Vitals, making sure that the site loads quickly, that there aren't issues with it rendering on the page. You know, that's, and Core Web Vitals is going to be a ranking factor. So just making sure that we get that covered with our clients is important to us.
That makes sense. Now, I assume that when Patrick came on your team, there was some things that he probably still needed to learn to understand how you do things. How much of that did you have to show or teach him to get up to speed with the way you do things in regards to like rank? Which when did you just say you used? I know you said Yoast, but what was the other one you used for page speed optimization?
Oh, WP Rocket.
WP Rocket, yes. So
Yeah.
does he get into that? Does he do any of that for you?
Yeah. So, a lot of our sites, we already had WP Rocket installed for many of them. So
Mhm.
he's learned to tweak and optimize with WP Rocket. So that's something he's had to learn to do, and also just thinking about things from a technical SEO perspective. So, a lot of times with WordPress is so easy, as easy to build a site. Without even knowing a whole lot of code. But a lot of these themes that are out there, or even just themes that come out of the box, they're either bloated or they're just not fully optimized. And so, been teaching Patrick on the importance of optimizing the sites and pages, and also thinking about things like when we take a page offline, or if a page has to go away, that we want to make sure that we redirect those pages to a new location, so that the end user doesn't have a 404 error. Also thinking about things like I mentioned, image optimizations, and just trying to get as much performance as we can out of the website, so that it loads quickly on desktop and mobile. And we've been working on like punch lists. So a lot of times when we do a technical SEO audit, we have a list of technical fixes that need to be done on the site. And so he's been learning how to make those fixes as well, which sometimes require a little bit of coding, a little bit of optimizations, some redirects. Maybe we have pages that we don't want to have indexed, and so learning about that too as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. So overall, you would say he's been able to get up to speed pretty quickly and get into your tools and figure it out.
Oh yeah, I mean, and if he has questions, he asks. So which I find really important too. I don't expect him to know everything. I don't expect anybody to know everything.
Right.
But as long as he's doing a good job and asking the questions that he needs to ask, which he does, I really appreciate that.
That's great. Lastly, I think we just talk about a little bit about the tools that you're using to communicate with them, and how often do you find yourself communicating with him?
Yeah, so we use Slack internally. So we're using a lot of Slack to basically communicate, questions about things, and using to check in. If there's anything going on, if I'm not available, then I use Slack to let them know. We also use Notion to manage our projects. So and we use it also as our company wiki. So a lot of process documentation goes into Notion, and as do our projects. And so within Notion and individual tasks that we create, we communicate there as well. And if need be, we get on Zoom, or we use Slack for voice and video if we need to do a discussion about anything. So and email. So we do everything by email too. So, but mostly it's through Slack, and mostly it's through Notion. Yeah.
And you communicate with him every day, essentially?
Oh yeah. He checks in every day, and we talk about things that need to get done. But usually with Notion, there's already a task. I'm really good about giving him a list of things that we need to work on. Mm-hmm. And then there's in Notion, you can even have a discussion within each page. So a lot of that discussion happens within Notion on those pages.
Oh, cool. So I guess the very last question is, it sounds like you're having a great experience with GoWP, and would you recommend this service to other agencies?
Totally. Absolutely. I'm a big GoWP fan. And you guys do not disappoint. And with having a dedicated developer, we're able to really leverage our business even more so than we have in the past. So I'm really grateful and highly recommend, if you're looking for a dedicated developer who will be there for you when you need development work, I highly recommend checking GoWP out.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for your time today. And this is the second time we had to do this. So thank you for being patient and understanding with me.
It's all good. And thank you for your patience and understanding that my light wasn't working.
No problem. So thanks again. And I look forward to hear more about how Patrick's been working out for you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. I am Joanne with GoWP, and I just want to remind you that if you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.